Attention Northwest Arkansas businesses and talent seekers. Introducing OnboardNWA.com, your hyperlocal job board crafted for our unique community. Struggling to find the perfect match for your job openings? Onboard NWA simplifies the hiring process, connecting you with the region's top talent through tailored talent matching solutions. Whether you're an employer seeking expertise or a professional looking for your next opportunity, Onboard NWA is here for you. Discover more at onboardnwa.com. And let's build the future of Northwest Arkansas together.
It's time for another episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas, the podcast covering the intersection of business, culture, entrepreneurship, and life in general here in the Ozarks. Whether you are considering a move to this area or trying to learn more about the place you call home, we've got something special for you. Without further ado, here's our fearless host, Randy Wilburn.
Hey folks, and welcome to another episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas. I'm your host, Randy Wilburn. And again, as always, and you know I say this, I'm always excited to be with you today. And I'm excited today, especially because the person that I'm interviewing is nowhere near Northwest Arkansas, but I'm interviewing them because of their desire to come spend time in Northwest Arkansas, not necessarily to live, but to take in all that the biking capital or the new biking capital of the world offers. And I'm speaking specifically of all that we offer from a mountain biking perspective, from a cyclocross, from a cycling perspective. We have so much going on here that the bike world has had to stop and take notice of all the good things that Northwest Arkansas is doing. And so without further ado, I want to welcome in our guest today, and he is Harry Hill. And Harry is one of the founders of the Minority Mountain Bikers group. They have a website, minoritymountainbikers.com. And Harry is somebody that I connected with just online because I saw the post about the fact that there were a bunch of African-American mountain bikers that were going to be descending on Northwest Arkansas at the end of March, early April. And then it turns out we have a mutual friend, which we'll talk about later. But the bottom line is, Harry, welcome to the I Am Northwest Arkansas podcast. We are so delighted to have you join us for this episode.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So one of the things that we like to do on I Am Northwest Arkansas, and for anybody that if you've ever listened to even just one episode, you know that the first thing we ask our guests is to establish who they are. We always want to hear your superhero origin story. So I would love for you just to give us the Cliff Note version of who Harry Hill is before we start talking about mountain biking.
Oh, Cliff Notes. My story is Washington D.C. born and raised. Went into the military, 10 and a half years of Air Force time.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Came back to the Washington D.C. area. Been back since 2001, and I've been a federal employee after my time in the service, and have become, these last few years, 4 or 5 years now, more and more of an avid biker, specifically mountain bike rider. And in doing so, have tried to get more of us brown and black people out on bikes, and having more and more group rides. So usually when I ride, there's a lot of times when if you come across another brown and black person, you're like, hey, it's like a leprechaun sighting out there.
Right.
So it's been good. It's and especially during this pandemic time, it was great to have an outdoor activity that I could do on a regular basis. And just want to try to get more folks out here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So now how long has Minority Mountain Bikers been around?
Well, actually, it's only been it hasn't even reached a year yet.
Okay.
Kind of just started the group last year before we came down. Actually, this will be our second time coming down. We're trying to make this an annual event. Last year we came down the beginning of June 2021, and we had I think 32 people from around the country came out for 4 days of riding and just having a good time. And it was such a success that we said, well, we got to do this again. Bentonville was fun. Northwest Arkansas was a good time. So, yeah, instead of doing it in the heat of June, which surprising, Washington D.C. has our area has a little heat and humidity during the summer, but
a little is an understatement. So
yours down there was another level.
Yeah.
So we're coming in. We're planning this for March 30th through April 4th.
Oh, okay, that's very cool. Now, so tell me this: where at what point, when you were kind of assembled with your folks that ride with you regularly, did you consider other places before you said we need to go to Northwest Arkansas? Or I mean, what were there any other options that you thought about, or was it just Northwest Arkansas was the first place?
Oh no, we have some a few places. There's some. Some of your main competition out there is some, like Moab, Utah, or maybe the northwest area of our country, going up to like Vancouver even, or going down into Arizona. But I kept hearing more and more about the mountain bike trails of good old Bentonville, Arkansas, and how there had been so much development through the Walton Foundation, through just the community and the whole town being circled around biking. And so after hearing about it, checked out some videos, good old YouTube.
Right.
And, nowadays you can find just about anything online on YouTube. So, decided Bentonville was going to be the first one, and just started working on it from there.
So I'm curious to know, what was the reaction of some of the members of the club when you said, "Hey, you know what? Let's go to Northwest Arkansas." Were they like, "Yeah, I've heard about it," or "Are you sure?" So,
oh yeah, I had to do a little. There was a few that had heard about the trails of. And it just, every time I think about it, Northwest Arkansas and that acronym, the NWA, it just kind of makes me giggle. But
right.
Talking to folks, I did have to do a little salesmanship, shared some videos to get some folks to realize, like, oh, this would be a good time. Of course, coming to Arkansas as a brown, black person, there's a little hesitation, apprehension there. But we worked through that, got a good group, and came out and had a great time. And that was partly due to the town. There's a local Bentonville-based mountain biker who does a lot of YouTube videos, has a lot of followers. And the two of us started up a conversation about diversity. And so through Rich Drew and his ride series clinic, we had a day of clinics and 3 days of riding. It turned out it was a really good event.
Yeah, I love that. So what was and I'm curious, what was like the biggest aha moment for your members when you guys had a chance to kind of think about or dissect the trip afterwards? What was the biggest thing that you guys were surprised about Northwest Arkansas after visiting here?
I think the biggest thing, and when I talk to people that didn't come, even family and friends back home, it was the level that we were welcomed. Like, we had a great time. let's just be honest. You're coming from the Northeast, or you're coming, people came from California, Colorado, Texas. But those of us, especially coming from the Northeast or maybe even California, you're not really sure what you're going to encounter, as in like how you're accepted, not just on the trails, but, just going out to eat or whatever, just walking around town. So I think that was one of the biggest surprises. We kind of knew what to expect as far as the quality of the mountain biking trails. But
they did not disappoint, I'm assuming.
They did not disappoint at all. It's like a little Disneyland of mountain bike riding there.
I like that.
It is something else, that the infrastructure they have there for mountain biking and biking in general. But the welcoming nature of the folks there was surprising, to be quite honest. And we had a great time. Met a lot of people. I still keep in contact with a few that I met down there. People came out after they heard about our group being in town.
They just showed up. They were just
people,
hey,
local people just started showing up. Now
we're here.
Was fantastic. Yeah. So,
that's cool. And that's a shout out to Kim and Beatrice and
yes.
The rest of the crew from BIPOC here, BIPOC NWA, and all the great stuff that they're doing here to create awareness and to create a safe space for Black and brown and folks from all hues to be able to come together and bicycle. It's funny because Harry, I'll tell you, we have another group called Arkansas Latinas in BC, and it just basically means Latinas in Arkansas that ride bikes, essentially. And they are another good group of they're mostly women, but they have done something very unique in this area because they have created a safe place for Latinas to come out, get on because you don't normally see a Latina woman out on a mountain bike or on a bike, period, cycling. And it's not a normal thing in the culture, but these women basically said, you know what, to hell with that. We're going to create our own group. We're going to get out here and we're going to ride. And they ride in Northwest Arkansas all the time. So if you see the pink bike jerseys riding around, that's Arkansas Latinas in BC. But now they've gone down to Central Arkansas. They've expanded beyond the whole state because, quiet as it's kept, while Northwest Arkansas is the hub of it all, I mean, our trails, both gravel and otherwise, are phenomenal throughout the state. And a lot of people just don't realize that. And that's one of the cool things about Northwest Arkansas. But we are glad that you guys have said, you know what, we had such a good time last year that we want to rewind it and do it again. And now you have an even bigger group coming this year. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's we do look like we're going to have a larger group and even a more diverse group. Last year there was, like I said, there was 32 total or so. I think it was about 32, and out of the 32, we only had one female.
Oh, wow!
One woman came out. This year, I think ticket sales are already up to like almost 40, and I think we have at least 12 women participants. So, like you were saying about the Latina, is like we got to, creating a new norm out here. Right? These things, these sports aren't just for or not for us. We'll just say that.
Right. So it's an equal opportunity thing that you can get out and definitely do. So, and it's funny because I'll just share, and I don't know that I've shared, but my kids rode on a NICA team this fall and this past fall, 2021, and it was a really good experience for them. They were the only African American kids on the team. They were welcomed with open arms. They learned a lot about mountain biking and about trail riding and about safety. And HB Fink and the rest of the folks on the NICA team were amazing. And they rode on the Fayetteville composite team, but every area up here has a team. Bentonville has one. Rogers has one. I even think Springdale does. So, mountain biking is kind of big up here, and it's getting even bigger. I went to one of the races that they had at Centennial Park, and I got a chance to watch my kids race up close and personal. And that was a really good experience. And they decided to get into it after going and seeing a race themselves at Centennial when some young kids from as far away as California came to ride the trails there. And my kids were like, that's actually kind of cool. And they decided ultimately to join the NICA team. And so between Bike NWA and what NICA's doing and people like Kim and Beatrice, they are creating awareness in our area. And so more and more people of color are getting involved with cycling. And I think it's, for someone that's been an avid cyclist all their lives, I think it's great because I do think it's the type of thing that anyone and mostly everyone can do. And it's a great way to stay in shape. I ride my bike just about every day. And I highly recommend more people to embrace this community and the culture of biking because it opens up so many doors and even it opens up doors to relate to other people that may or may not necessarily look like you.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, a lot of times we talk about the representation and that obviously that plays a huge impact. But I think what you just said about your kids and just being exposed, like we don't even get exposed to some of these things out here. And seeing other people ride mountain bikes or seeing other people hiking or mountain climbing or skiing, there's a lot of things that we just don't get exposed to as, brown and black kids growing up. And
sure.
I think it makes a huge difference. And the NICA teams I'm trying to help, expand those here as well. I've got it's a PIMBA certification, professional instructor, mountain biking certification for level 1, but I also want to get the NICA certification. But because as you said, the NICA teams, they there's a lot of good work there, being done by those. So, getting kids exposed, getting kids on bikes, and you get kids on bikes and they start the next generation. So.
Right. Yeah. And you go from there. I mean, why should there be such a gap? When you think about it, it's like, Major Taylor was, and a lot of people don't know who Major Taylor is. So I'm basically going to tell everybody listening to this, if you don't know who Major Taylor is, and you don't follow me on Facebook, Major Taylor is the picture that I've typically had in my profile picture for the longest time now. And I've swapped it out from time to time, but Major Taylor was a world-class cyclist at the turn of the century at a time when, African Americans were still being lynched, to be quite frank with you. Major Taylor was out there, busting it up on the track. I mean, he was a fierce competitor, an outstanding cyclist, and there are now Major Taylor bike clubs all over the country. There's a Major Taylor bike club in Oklahoma City. There's one in Tulsa, which I have been involved with, and we're trying to bring one here to Northwest Arkansas, which I think would be cool. And you were involved with Major Taylor up in your way, right? Yeah,
I just officially joined the Northern Virginia chapter here. There's some in Maryland. There's definitely, it is a great organization to be part of. Just an organization that does great work, and getting more of us out on bikes and just helping the community.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so much to it. And I mean, there's like a million different directions that I want to go with this, but I just, I'm always cognizant of our audience. We have folks that come from all walks of life that are listening to this. And I think if nothing else, one of the things that we can do as human beings is to create awareness, of what our lives are like with other people that may or may not necessarily look like us or have lived our walk or our truth or whatever that is. And so that's the one thing that I enjoy about having this platform of this podcast, because I'm able to expose some things and some ideas and some concepts to people that may not traditionally get exposed to them. And so I appreciate my audience so much because they are willing to roll their sleeves up and do the hard work as we share these stories, and because they matter, they really do.
They really do matter.
Yeah, and so I mean, I certainly do appreciate that. So I'm curious to know with this new group that you're coming here with this year, what are you guys hoping to accomplish this time around that you didn't get to do the last time? I know we talked about this before we actually did this recording, because you kind of intimated that there was actually a lot of culture here to take advantage of, and so you want it to kind of be a mixture of spending a lot of time ripping up the trails, but you also want to take in all that Northwest Arkansas has to offer.
Yeah, we did miss out. I mean, last time we did, like I said, we came in on a Wednesday evening, and for the most part, everybody left on Monday. So for that 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're just jam-packed with riding. I just exhausted, and that's the way a lot of us at the end of a biking vacation, you want to go home on the plane. You just want to be wiped out. But that didn't allow for a lot of our opportunities to go to, like just in town and there in Bentonville, there's museums, even just the Walmart, the first Walmart. But so yes, I do want to take time, and we will have, in the schedule, time to go to Crystal Bridges and, I don't want to say the name wrong. Momentary.
Yep.
Momentary. Correct.
The Momentary and Crystal Bridges are like two places that you can visit and really get a lot out of. And as you said, there are other places that you could go to. I mean, it could be almost overwhelming because there's so many things that you can do in Northwest Arkansas, even just in Bentonville. Never leave Bentonville.
You don't
have to go to Rogers, Springdale, or Fayetteville, and you could do it all in Bentonville. I know the folks up at Visit Bentonville would love to hear that, but we certainly want to we always try to give equal fitting to everybody. So
like we talked about, even coming down and riding at Centennial Park.
Right. I'm going to reach out to Kim and Beatrice and see if I can get those guys involved with organizing something, even if we could just get a few folks that want to go down there and maybe tear off and take a few people down there to experience that and see what's available. So definitely.
Want to come down and see it. I think the only thing we did outside of basically Bentonville was, about 10 of us rode all the way out to Lake Leatherwood. And to be quite honest, I don't even remember the town that's in. I just know it's a downhill park. You got to shuttle yourself, or I think they do have a shuttle, but it was fun. It's more chunky, rocky like it is here on the northeast part of the country. So
right.
But yes, we do want to get down there, and love to come out there and get you out on the Centennial Trail.
we're gonna see. I tell you, I'm primarily a road.
I know,
but I may have to rent, or I may borrow one of my kids' mountain bikes that week, because they got some really nice trek bikes. So that's one of the fringe benefits of being on a NICA team, is that you get some nice equipment. But I may have to borrow one of their bikes and come out and rip up the trails a little bit. I just don't want to hurt myself. When I think about it, it's like I've had one bad spill on my road bike here. And it was honestly because I just hit a patch of slippery dirt, and it was right after it had rained. And I was riding with somebody else, and we weren't paying attention because we were talking about something. And the next thing I know, tires were up. I had ripped off all my skin on my forearm. It was ugly. And I think my feelings were hurt more than anything else. But I have since overcome that, and I'm looking to get out and do some mountain biking. I just know my personality type, so I don't want to get out there and kill myself either. So
we take it easy on you. And actually, speaking of that, the road bike, I usually ride my road bike only when I can't ride my mountain bike, but that's a whole nother story. But we are talking about doing a expanding if to a mountain bike, gravel, and road bike event next year. So for those out there, I think you should, tell them. And I hope you share this with your audience. And, and fellow bikers will share this as they hear it and say, hey, you could come to Northwest Arkansas. You can do road, you can do gravel, and you can mountain bike all in the same trip. Yeah. And they're all relatively close on top of each other. You don't have to go an hour or two to get to one thing. I mean, we've got all kinds of options as far as that. We have a really great gravel ride called Big Sugar.
We have a 1,000-mile gravel ride, which is insane. But I mean, we have what I like to say all the time on this podcast, an embarrassment of riches when it comes to outdoor activities and sports, but especially as it comes to biking, period.
Yeah.
We have really hit the nail on the head. And I'm certainly here to say to anybody that looks like me, that's in another part of the country and has kind of had reservations about maybe coming to Northwest Arkansas or just coming to Arkansas in general, you need to come down here. Trust me, we will leave the light on for you and we will show you a good time. And so I can't wait. I've actually blocked out some time on my schedule to be able to hang with you guys and just be a good host, because this is home for me now. So just like if I came and hung out with you in Virginia, it would be the same thing, but you guys are going to be in my backyard. And I certainly want to make sure, as I know a lot of other people do, from all of the different organizations here in Northwest Arkansas, they're going to want to put on the best show possible for you guys, so that in a couple of years we'll be having this conversation and you're going to tell us that you're bringing 300 people out here, because and here's the thing, and you probably are aware of this, Harry. If for a lot of my friends, there is a club called Black Ski, and Black Ski started out with just a few black skiers. And then it grew into, and I mean, it's all over the place. And, you've got, like, you could go to different mountains at certain times of the year for skiing. You could go up to Whistler. You could go, somewhere in the Rockies, or, somewhere out west, or you pick in the Alps, wherever. And there are black ski groups that will go to these places, and there'll be 100, 200, 300, black skiers on a mountain skiing. And so I don't see why we won't see in the near future, especially people coming here or maybe going some other places that, as you said, there are other places, believe it or not, that have good mountain bike trails, but we have some of the best. So I would like to say that I'm going to put it on record today in 2022, saying that in the next few years, you're going to see a whole host of folks descend upon Northwest Arkansas to take in all that we have to offer. And it will be unlike anything that you've ever seen before. And as I was telling you before, black people's money and white people's money spend the same. So it doesn't. It's all green. So that's the most important thing. And also the simple fact that we like welcoming people to the place that we call home. At least that's how I feel about Northwest Arkansas. So Harry, we're excited to have you guys come visit with us. And we certainly look forward to, I'll be posting some stuff on social media when the Minority Mountain Bikers Club comes here to Northwest Arkansas, and we're going to try to maybe get some I Am Northwest Arkansas swag to give away to folks so that they can at least have something to show for their time here. But I'm sure there'll be other things as well. But Harry, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And if anybody wants to check out your website, can you give us the website address again?
Yeah, all of it's the same. The website, IG, Facebook, it's Minority Mountain Bikers. The website's minoritymountainbikers.com. The event is, it's on Eventbrite. You can get tickets, and it's March 30th through the 4th of April. And one thing you did say, I will second, is that it's a great place. If you're thinking about going, Northwest Arkansas was, I thought it would be fun, but it was a fantastic time, and everybody was welcoming. And you do have an abundance of outdoor activities there.
We do. No, and that's actually the perfect time to come, because it could be really warm, but I suspect that it'll be like in the 70s. That the weather's going to be just right. We will have by then, it won't get dark until almost 8:00. So there's a lot of benefits to coming at that time of year that you're coming at the end of next month. So we're looking forward to it, man. And we're going to get excited to see you guys. And I know you guys are doing some Airbnbs, and you will be really being among the people here in Northwest Arkansas. So if you see a bunch of mountain bikers that look like they're from out of town, please treat them with a little love and respect, and just say hello to them and welcome them to Northwest Arkansas, because we want to see them come back year after year after year. So,
sir.
Harry Hill, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to hanging out with you guys in a couple of weeks up in Bentonville and wherever else our bikes take us. So.
Yes. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, folks, there you have it. Another episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas. You see, I try to bring you a mixture of a little bit of everything. And I hope you enjoyed this particular episode. Remember, our podcasts come out every Monday, rain or shine. I will see you next week. Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas. Check us out each and every week, available anywhere that great podcasts can be found. For show notes and more information on becoming a guest or sponsor, visit IamNorthwestArkansas.com. We'll see you next week on I Am Northwest Arkansas.